What is wrong with me? I almost reached over and hit stop streaming for some reason. So he just got back to me. It's the arcade version of the original with a hamster emulation for screen modes, etc. What the hell is hamster emulation? I'm sure he will be gushing on Nintendo Pulse podcast recording tonight. He's a huge fan of that game. It's one of his machines that his parents' rental shop back in the day. Oh, that's awesome. I'm a huge fan of Double Dragon, although I was never very good at it. You guys are recording tonight. That's awesome. Well, give a plug. What time are you guys recording, guys? Let's caster Resd TV. Stop. All right, that's our there's our hat time. Thank you much. Thank you very much, TF Wagner and Awate, for the between the two of them 9 months of support. 9 p.m. Central, so 10 p.m. my time. I probably won't be watching live, unfortunately. But if you guys are awake, go watch Resd. Nintendo Pulse is a great podcast. I subscribe to all of them. I don't always listen to all of them, but I listen to all of Resd. Or of Nintendo Pulse. I subscribe to all of the Nintendo podcasts, and you know, I usually listen to a couple of them, but a week. But I always listen to Nintendo Pulse. All right, here we go. Oh, show notes. I almost forgot the show notes. Copy link. Paste. Done. Here we go. Oh, maybe, you know, it might be a good idea. I don't know if you guys think it's a good idea, but for me to open up Audacity, it's just a suggestion, Bill. Let's open that up. All right. This episode of Switchcraft is brought to you by patrons like Rebecca. Support Switchcraft and my other content for as little as $1 and get exclusive rewards over at patreon.com/runjumpstomp. File, save project as SC134, save. And we'll go ahead and name that patron. Control S. Episode 134 of Switchcraft is also brought to you by Audible. Get your free audio book that you get to keep whether you stay a member or not. All you have to do is go over to runjumpstomp.com/audible. Once you're there, you'll see a link that you can click. It'll take you over to Amazon's site or Audible's site. And once you're there, you sign up. You directly support the show, and you get to pick whatever book you want out of the many genres that exist. Thousands of books to choose from. If you stick around, you get another book the next month. If you don't stick around, you get to keep the one that you got. If you subscribe for 6 months and then you shut it down, you get all the books that you got in those 6 months as well. Audible is a fantastic way to read books, and it's how I read books because that's what I do when I'm on the bike or stuff like that. If I'm not watching a YouTube video or the news or something. But anyway, let's move on to, you know what? I don't like that commercial. It went too long. We're going to start it over. Episode 134 of Switchcraft is also brought to you by Audible. Head on over to runjumpstomp.com/audible to get your free book. You could choose from thousands of books, any genre you want. You get to listen to that book read to you by fantastic narrators. And if you remain a member, then you get another book the next month. If you don't, you get to keep the books that you already picked out. So make sure you head on over to runjumpstomp.com/audible and directly support the show. Yeah, that was better. Sponsor. All right. Yes. Make sure you join that friends list. List, I guess. I don't know how to say it otherwise. Man, I can't get over how much better the room looks with these with the lighting. I can't get over how much worse my face looks with the lighting. Now you guys can actually see how hideous I am. Look away. Switchcraft is recorded live 3 times a week at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern on Tuesday. On Tuesday? Let's try that again. Switchcraft is recorded live at 3 p.m. on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday when I can get around to it. Make sure that you tune in live over at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp, and you get to hang out with some awesome people. People like Snow Goes Ham, Vaxer, Zap D Seed, Awate86, Captain Logan, Decor, DJ Windrunner, A.R. Slia, Kimbalina66, Link31254, Meat Hooks, Mikey B playing, Perry's 2271, Pudding, Resd TV, and TF Wagner, plus all the lurkers as well. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. You guys are great. Don't have any emails that I received. Didn't receive any tweets. I didn't receive any voicemails, but those are all ways that you can get a hold of me. So if you want to email me, runjumpstomp@gmail.com, tweet at runjumpstomp. You can leave a voicemail at 260-RUN-JUMP, and you can, of course, that's 260-786-5867. And of course, join the Discord. There's always people in there talking. It's been going bananas ever since last night when Nintendo made their really weird announcements, which we'll get to in just a second. But again, that's runjumpstomp.com/Discord. Okay. Trying to think of how I want to start this sentence. This is the problem with doing an unscripted show, is sometimes I just have trouble kicking it off. Let me get a drink real quick. So last night I was at professional development. I'm a teacher, and no, I'm not going to talk about that. Oh, I'm not recording anyway. Well, that's good. Yeah, well, you know what? That's a great problem to have, Link. So last night I was at a meeting, and it was a long meeting, and my phone just kept going off. First, it was like I have an Apple phone, so like the Apple News thing, which I use all the time, gave me a little update, and it said something about cardboard and Nintendo, and I was like, what are they talking about? I knew that Nintendo had made like or was going to make an announcement, and I couldn't watch it live because I was working. But like it said cardboard and Nintendo, and I just took my phone and turned it over, and then my phone would buzz and it was somebody on the Discord, and my phone would buzz and it was another person on the Discord, and I was like, what is going on? And then I started getting tweets. Twitter was blowing up. I was getting notifications that all these different people were liking this thing. And oh, you know what? I lied earlier when I said I didn't get a tweet. I think I did get somebody tweeting at me asking me what I thought about it. Let me bring that up real quick. If you can hear the clicking in the background, I'm very sorry about that. So we'll go over to mentions. And it says here, okay, Ryan Bradshaw tweeted at me. They said, at Run Jump Stomp, still loving the podcast and great last episode. Pre-ordering Nintendo Labo Variety Pack today. Tell Nintendo we need to be able to back up our game saves to the cloud just in case something happens to our system. Lost, stolen, damaged. Keep it up. Ryan in North Carolina. Well, Ryan, Nintendo doesn't listen to me, but if they did, that's what I would tell them, because you're right. Let's see, what else? Don Weitzel tweeted. They said, you have to be excited for Nintendo Labo. Am I wrong? Very interesting concept. And let's see who else said. Here we go. Door to Door Geek said, I see one thing being popular here: custom 3D printed parts. So what exactly is Nintendo Labo? If you've been living under a rock today, or if you don't use Twitter or whatever it is, Nintendo unveiled this really well done video, by the way, but this really well done video where they showed this conveyor belt coming along, and then a big stamp came down and stamped into this cardboard. And honestly, like, I didn't really believe what I was seeing. It was so weird. And then it fell down, and people start popping out these pre-cut parts, and I was like, what is happening here? And then they were folding it, and I was like, man, this reminds me of some of those kits. Like, my wife, for a while there, she was subscribing to, I don't remember who it's called, but it was this kit that would come every month, and it was something that you didn't know what it was ahead of time. It's like a blind box. It was something for the kids to do, and it really kind of reminded me of that. And so they had these sheets, and they pop out this cardboard, and they start folding the cardboard, and then next thing you know, they slide the Joy-Con in, and suddenly they're playing a video game with this cardboard. And that's what Nintendo Labo is. Now, first off, I think that there's a much better name that they could call Nintendo Labo. I think that they should call it Nintendo Switchcraft. I think that that would be a great name. Just thinking a little bit outside the box here. But Nintendo Switchcraft would be a great name for this product, and Nintendo Labo, not such a great name. But anyway, I think that what we see here is really fantastic. It's not something that I'm interested in personally. It's not something that I want, but it's definitely good for the Nintendo Switch as a platform. And I think that this is something that Nintendo can try and use to get into like the classroom, maybe. However, that's a tough sell because a Switch is $300, which is pretty expensive. And you can do a lot more in the makerspace for a lot less money, especially in a classroom. So that's kind of tough. I don't think this is going to be something that should be in a classroom. Captain Logan says it should be called Nintendo Creations. That's not a bad idea. Although, isn't there like a Lego thing that's kind of like that Nintendo might not be able to come up with or use that? I'm not sure. Let's take a look at the press release. Since I'm babbling here, I've kind of lost my path. Let's look at the press release. So the press release reads, make, play, and discover with interactive DIY kits for Nintendo Switch. So it says, with each Nintendo Labo kit, kids can transform modular sheets of cardboard specifically designed to interact with the Nintendo Switch console and Joy-Con controllers into creations called Toy-Con. Now, first off, what a fantastic name. Like, when they called the Joy-Cons, everybody was like, that's dumb. And now I'm kind of seeing why they did that. It's actually pretty brilliant to call them Toy-Cons. And I will say this, there's no chance that Nintendo hasn't had this planned for a long time. And I'll get to like their strategy here in a little bit. They go on to say, from a piano to a motorbike, a robot, and more, each Toy-Con comes to life when combined with Nintendo Switch in different ways. As you build, you'll have fun discovering how the technology works and might even invent new ways to play with each Toy-Con. For example, you can build a functioning 13-key piano that brings your musical creations to life once the Nintendo Switch console and right Joy-Con controller are inserted. Then they go on to explain how it works. And so basically what's happening is, if you don't know, the right Joy-Con has an IR camera on the bottom of it. And so you insert that in the back of the piano. And then as you push the cardboard piano keys on the front, the camera is watching from the back which keys you're pushing. And then it knows, okay, well, if they push this, then I need to make this sound, which is really, really crazy. So the right Joy-Con is detecting which keys are pressed to translate that into unique notes, which then you can hear through the console. I guess there's a part that you can put in the top and turn it, and the camera will see how it's turned, and it'll change the sound of the piano. And I guess somebody has also posted that you can even make your own sine wave in order to have the piano sound the way that you want it to. So it's pretty amazing. Bill Trinan, who, if you don't know, okay, sorry, I had to pause for a second there. He has traditionally been Mr. Miyamoto's translator, but he works at Nintendo Treehouse, and he tweeted today, "You were going to be amazed." I paraphrasing here because I don't have his tweet in front of me, but he said, "You're going to be amazed at what you can do with the piano," which is really impressive. Like, everything that they're doing with that is impressive. Some of the other things that they can do is they've got a little cardboard robot. It's got like 6 legs, just pointy pieces of cardboard pointed at the ground, and you slide your Joy-Cons into it. And then you control how that robot moves using the touchscreen on your Nintendo Switch. And the way that this works is if you push up, it sends it sends a signal to the Joy-Cons to have HD rumble turn on, and depending on which button you push, it sends a different rumble. So the HD rumble is effectively making the robot move forward or turn left or turn right, which is really crazy. Aerslia said, "I thought the camera was left. Which special feature was left?" There is no special feature on the left Joy-Con. The left Joy-Con has the camera, and it has the NFC chip or reader, I mean, as well. The things that they're doing with this are really impressive. From the little walking droid using the HD rumble, or the piano, which can tell which button you're pushing, or the flippin' robot suit, which works because as you move the hands and the feet, there's strings that go into the backpack, and then there's sliders up that move up and down as you move these strings around, and then the camera's looking at those sliders and can tell what you're doing and sending that information to the console so it's reflected on screen. It's like, this is really, really ingenious stuff. I think that the Joy-Con camera and the HD rumble are far more impressive tech than we thought. And this goes right back to last December. Mr. Kimishima, Tatsumi Kimishima, he's the president of Nintendo. He took over after Satoru Iwata passed away. And he said, we can expect to see more IR camera and HD rumble stuff coming in the next year. And this is obviously what they're talking about. Now, does this mean that the IR camera is only going to be used for this kind of thing? Not necessarily. One thing that I think would be awesome for them to do with the IR camera is you could do like a Mario Party game, and it could say, go find a circle, and so you have to go through your house and you have to find the shape and then put it in front of the camera in order to score in the game. I think that would be really cool. And not only would it be cool, but it's a way to get people who are playing a game moving around and away from the TV and racing through the house. Although I'm sure that somebody will go slide across a kitchen floor or something as they're trying to race back. But I think that would be a cool mini game. And I'm sure that there's other mini games that they can do with that combination of the HD rumble and the Joy-Con camera. I'm just gonna save that and call it part 1. Labo 1. Control S. All right. The next thing that I want to talk about for Nintendo Labo is like the replacement sheets. So there's a lot of people who are asking, look, this stuff is made out of cardboard, and anybody who has kids will tell you kids destroy cardboard. I mean, they showed a gas pedal. There's no way that a gas pedal is going to stand up to the punishment that is a 5 to 6 year old. You know what I mean? So if these things get destroyed, how is it that we're supposed to replace them? Well, there was some IGN France, I believe, and I'm doing this from memory because I forgot to copy this into the show notes, but IGN France had posted that Nintendo was giving away the cardboard for free for replacements, and that is not true. That would be a terrible idea from Nintendo, and their investors would kill them. So what is it that they're giving away for free? Well, apparently, they, from what I've read, and I could be wrong, is that, oh, hold on a second. I'm getting a link from Snow Goes Ham in chat. Let me pause here for a second. Okay. I'm going to start over. Yeah, but Airsley, how much did Lego Mindstorms cost? Bite Blind, you only have Mario Odyssey? Well, then get Zelda. Bite Blind. You want to get Zelda. See, here's the thing. Before I record this segment, I'm a little confused. So when people say patterns, they mean something that I could print out and then cut out, right? They don't mean the cardboard. Like, of course, Nintendo's not going to give out cardboard, but are they going to give out a PDF that I can print? That's the thing that I don't understand. And that's why Nintendo needs to talk about this. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the patterns. There seems to be some confusion over whether or not you're going to be able to get these patterns online. So Nintendo, or not Nintendo, IGN France had incorrectly said that Nintendo was giving out the cardboard patterns for free, and nobody is actually saying that. So we need to wait and see what Nintendo says. I personally think that, and why do they want to give, why do people want them to give away these things for free? Well, we should pay for stuff. You're right, we should pay for stuff. But when you think of it this way, kids destroy cardboard. You know, one of the things that they had was a gas pedal, or, you know, you have that piano and you know, somebody leaves it on the floor, and then next thing you know, you're having a Nerf gun war or something, and somebody steps on the piano and it's destroyed because it's cardboard. So where do you get replacement cardboard that's pre-cut? Well, you probably can't unless you're paying for it. However, I think it would be in Nintendo's best interest for them to give out the PDF for the patterns for the cardboard for free, so that if, you know, I've already bought the game and the pattern is useless without the game. So I've already paid for the game. I should be able to just print out the PDF and then lay it on top of a piece of cardboard and cut it out. And that would make it, I think, I mean, because these things are going to end up online as soon at the moment that somebody has this in their hand, the patterns are going to go online. And it's pretty tough for somebody to police a bunch of PDFs out there. So we're going to have these patterns easily accessible, and it would just be in Nintendo's best interest for them to give the patterns away just as a PDF, not a physical object, just a PDF that you can download easily. In fact, I would go one step further, and I would say, you know, first off, sell replacement sheets, because you know what, that's the whole blade and razor thing. But sell the replacement sheets. because cardboard is not durable. But also, Nintendo needs to make an entire channel on Thingiverse. And if you don't know what Thingiverse is, it's basically a community for 3D printing, for people who have 3D printers. And if Nintendo made 3D printing blueprints or models, I guess, that you could then download and print out a plastic version of this stuff, that would be really, really cool. And I guarantee that we're going to see stuff anyway. There are going to be people who are making this stuff and uploading it, and it is not in Nintendo's best interest to go after those people, because that's just a PR nightmare. Here, give us more money for cardboard. That's a bad idea. What they need to do is support that community and say, hey, you know what? Instead of having people trying to make one that's not really up to par, let's release our own, because the stuff is useless without having an actual game. It's useless without having a Switch. And if people want the official stuff, they can go get it. But being able to print that off and either cut it out on cardboard or print it off on a 3D printer and have a plastic version, something that's a little more durable, you know, that's how I look at it. And I think it would be definitely in Nintendo's best interest to do so. 3D printing would be not that big of a deal financially for them either, because there's not a lot of people out there with 3D printers. Yes, there are people that have them. Yes, they are becoming more and more prevalent, but most people don't have a 3D printer in their house. And even if they did, a lot of people would say, well, I don't know if I want to use up my, what's it called? Resin, I think. I don't know if I want to use up my resin on this project or not. I think it would be awesome. Let's see what they said in chat. Yeah, one thing that people might run into is you can't find your Joy-Cons anywhere. However, Nintendo does have a way for you to cause the Joy-Cons to vibrate from the Switch, so you don't have to go looking for them. They'll make noise. Link31254 in chat says it's called filament, the stuff that is in a 3D printer. Very good. Captain Logan says the pizza box stock is going to go up. Wouldn't it be great if Nintendo partnered with, oh my gosh, with like a big pizza chain, like I guess Domino's or Pizza Hut or something like that, and you ordered a pizza and then you could cut out the top of the box and it would be one of those oh my gosh, it could be like a small thing that you would make out of the pizza box, and it would be DLC that maybe it has an NFC chip in it, and then you could use it as an amiibo. And maybe it would be like, oh man, okay, if you are from the 80s, then you probably remember the Noid. It was Domino's mascot, and it was this guy that would go around and ruin pizzas, and you had to avoid the Noid. Wouldn't it be amazing if Domino's Pizza made a deal with Nintendo where if you ordered a pizza from Domino's, it would come in this box, you'd cut off the top part, and once you get that top part off, you can form it into the Noid, and it's also an amiibo, which then you scan in, and then you can use it in the new Smash Brothers. All right, that's never going to happen, but how funny would that be? That would be crazy, crazy funny. Vaxer says it should be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, going with pizza. Decor remembers the Noid. Yeah, I remember the Noid. I think that there was even a Noid game. All right, we've gotten off track big time. So let's see. Oh, here's the next thing that I wanted to talk about. The marketing on this. I guarantee that Nintendo had this planned from the beginning. And even though it was planned from the beginning, they sat on this. They sat on this idea. And I think that they did it because they knew that if they launched the Switch with this, if this was at their January event last year, the Switch would have failed. Not because the stuff that we have on the Switch is not awesome, because it is, but because people would have seen this And that's all that they would talk about. In fact, right now, there is a lot of blowback against Nintendo for doing this. I mean, first off, they tweeted out saying, "Hey, we're going to do a thing that's for kids and kids at heart." Okay, well, that told 90% of the core gaming audience, this is not an announcement for you. This is why we didn't do it in Nintendo Direct. This is something different. And still, those people are like, well, but I don't want this. Okay, don't buy it. There's going to be a lot of people who don't want that, and there's going to be a lot of people who do want it. Do you buy every single game that comes to the Switch? Probably not. There's 300 of them unless you're a collector. And so the way I look at it is not everything is for me. And honestly, when I saw this, I thought, this is insanely cool. I do not want this crap in my house. And why don't I want this crap in my house? I've got a 9-year-old. He would love this. And I'm sure I'll end up with having it in my house at some point. But I don't want this in my house because it takes up room. The same reason I don't want Rock Band drum sets and guitars all over the place. It just takes up space. And I don't have space to have all this stuff in my house, especially cardboard stuff. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. So I don't want that stuff. Let's talk about Reggie Fils-Aimé. Reggie said, Nintendo Labo continues our long-standing mission of making people smile. My phone is ringing. Of making people smile by surprising them with new experiences. Nintendo of America. It is an exciting evolution of the Nintendo Switch platform, one designed to inspire curiosity, creativity, and imagination in people of all ages. And, you know, Nintendo said last year, we have no intention of leaving the casuals behind. Yes, we've been focusing on core gamer with our marketing so far, but that doesn't mean that we're leaving those casuals behind, because look at the Wii. The Wii printed money for them. The Wii did a fantastic job of making a lot of money for Nintendo, and that money that they got from the Wii, it helped them through the dark times that were the Wii U. So I think that them going after casuals, you know what? It might not be what I want, but it's good for Nintendo as a whole. As long as they keep doing what they've been doing. A lot of people who are upset, I think they forget that there are lots and lots of fantastic games on the Switch. And just because this exists doesn't mean that those other games are suddenly not playable. So real quick, there's the robot kit, which you can buy, and both of the kits come with the game, but there's the robot kit, and that is the one where you dress up as the robot. And then there's the variety kit, which is pretty much everything else that we got to see. So those are the two kits. Now the robot kit is $80 and the variety kit is $70. And I think that Nintendo, they've hit a good idea here, and it's incredibly unique. And honestly, it is the most Nintendo thing that Nintendo has ever done. So what do you guys think of Nintendo Labo? Do you think that it's something that you're going to be picking up? Which, by the way, if you're going to pick up, please use the link in the show notes, because I'll get a cut of that. Just follow that link. It says pre-order the robot kit and pre-order the variety kit. All right, let's talk about something else. You can't pre-order it in Canada yet? I'm sorry. Oh my god, I talked forever. I kind of meandered. I don't like how I talked about that stuff. I don't like how it went. I feel like I've done a bad job. All right, I've got two quick lightning. Hold on a sec. Yeah, I felt like I was distracted. I almost feel like I want to go back and re-record everything. No, I don't feel like I was distracted by chat. I just felt like I didn't, like I had my thoughts together on it because I've been kind of noodling this around all day. And then like I started recording and everything just went right out of my head. Canada is part of the U.S. It's America's hat. Hmm. Well, I already recorded this once, but I don't like the way I kind of meandered a little bit when I was talking about it. So let's talk about Nintendo Labo. I'm starting over from scratch. Last night, Nintendo announced this cardboard craziness that nobody expected. It started with earlier that day, there was a tweet that said, "We're making something for kids and kids at heart." And it was at 5 p.m. my time, and I was in a meeting that I couldn't get out of course. And my phone just kept going off, and I was like, "What is going on?" I flipped it over, and it said something about cardboard and Nintendo, and I said, "Well, that's really interesting. I'm not sure what that is, so I'm gonna have to wait until I get home to check it out." So finally, I got home and I watched it, and I was just like, "What is this? It's just nuts." So for those of you that missed the video or who have not been online at all in the past 12 to 24 hours, so probably the last 20 hours or so, they announced Nintendo Labo. Now, what is Nintendo Labo? Well, by looking at the press release, which I closed by accident, it says, make, play, and discover with interactive DIY kits for Nintendo Switch. Together with the Nintendo Switch, system sold separately. The Nintendo Labo kits provide the tools and technology to make fun DIY creations, play games with your creations, and discover how the magic of the Nintendo Switch technology shapes ideas into reality. With each Nintendo Labo kit, kids can transform modular sheets of cardboard specifically designed to interact with the Nintendo Switch console and Joy-Con controllers into creations called Toy-Cons, which, by the way, is a fantastic name. From a piano to a motorbike, a robot, and more, each Toy-Con comes to life when combined with Nintendo Switch in different ways. As you build, you will have fun discovering how the technology works and might even invent new ways to play with each Toy-Con. All right, so what exactly are they talking about? The first thing that really showed off is the piano. So it's a 13 key piano, I believe, and it's made completely out of cardboard. Now, in the front, there's a spot where you can slide your Switch console, and then in the back, there's a spot for you to put your right Joy-Con. And for those of you that have forgotten, and I wouldn't blame you if you had, but the right Joy-Con has a camera in it, and the camera watches the inside of the piano, and as you push down on these cardboard keys on the piano, the Joy-Con in the back can watch it and see which key you press and then play the appropriate tone, which is really crazy and incredibly inventive. And I think that this is the most Nintendo thing that Nintendo has ever done. They have taken all of the ideas that anybody will have for accessories for the Joy-Cons, and they've said, we're going to make them out of cardboard so that they're cheap and so that they're replaceable and so that they're better for the environment. You know, I mean, using plastic, I think, is probably not the best idea. I think paper You know, there was a cartoon that somebody told me about that showed a bunch of trees, and one of the trees leaned over and said, "Did you see that new thing from Nintendo?" And the other tree said, "Yeah, I'm sorry to see you go, pal." But I think that this will be made out of recycled paper, I'm sure. If not, Nintendo's going to have a PR nightmare. Um, Res TV says something very smart. They said that the cardboard is just the fun delivery mechanism, just like the Blu-rays are the fun delivery mechanism for PS4 and Xbox. Deliver the fun. So, what else can you do with this thing? Well, it also has like a little six-legged robot, and it has no moving parts because it's cardboard, you know? So how does it work? Well, the way it works is you put a Joy-Con in either side of the robot, and then you can drive the robot with the touch screen of the Switch, and the game uses HD Rumble to make the robot move, and you can steer it because they have different ways to rumble the Joy-Cons, which is really cool. It's a very, very creative thing, and it's exactly what you would expect from Nintendo, but nobody, including myself, saw it coming. I mean, when they said that they were making an announcement for kids and kids at heart, I said this is going to heavily feature the Joy-Con, and it's going. I'm sorry, the Joy-Con camera, and it's going to heavily feature HD Rumble, and it did. I was lucky. And the reason I knew that that was going to happen is because Nintendo president Tatsumi Kimishima, he had said back in December, we have not forgotten about these features that you bought a Switch, you paid for these features. We haven't forgotten about it. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what else they can do with the Joy-Con camera. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who say this is just another gimmick from Nintendo. But the gimmicks are what makes Nintendo so great. They always find awesome ways to use technology to create fun, to deliver fun, just like Res TV and chat was saying. They're delivering fun. So I think that this is a testament to really the Joy-Con camera and HD Rumble. I think that they're far more impressive than we thought. The robot suit, like you can build a robot suit, and the backpack has these things that slide up and down as you pull on the strings, and because of that, you can tell, or the Joy-Con in the back looks at the things sliding up and down, and it says, "Oh, okay, well that means he's pushing his left arm forward, so we'll have the robot on the TV push their left arm forward." They took the left Joy-Con and they put it in the head or the helmet part of the robot suit, and my guess is this is so that they can figure out which way is the person looking. Like, is that their camera? I could be wrong about that. Like, I'm not really sure what that says. Res TV in chat says I want an adult-sized version of that. Yeah. Well, you know what? It comes with string, and maybe you'll get more string than you need, but you can always go to a store and buy more string to make it an adult-sized version of that. For a friend. That's awesome. All right. What else? Okay, replacement sheets. These things are cardboard, so kids are going to destroy them. Dogs are going to destroy them. Your cats are going to eat them. Cats are going to be scratching at them. So these things are going to get destroyed. So how do you replace them? Nobody knows yet. My guess is that Nintendo is going to sell the replacements at, of course, a cheaper price. And by the way, the price, the robot suit is $80 and the variety set is $70. And we'll talk about why that is in just a second. But you can get the card. My guess is Nintendo is going to sell the cardboard for much cheaper, the pre-cut cardboard, so that you can get replacement stuff for your piano if your little brother steps on the piano or something. But what I think Nintendo should do, in addition to that, and they definitely should do that because, they're going to make a lot of money off that cardboard. It doesn't cost a lot. But what they should be doing is they should release not only PDFs of the patterns, so you can just print off the pattern, put it on a piece of cardboard, cut it out, and there you go. But something else that they should do is they should release the 3D printing file so that I can load that up in a 3D printer, print it off, and then have a more durable version of this. That's what I think Nintendo should do. Whether or not they do that is weird, or not weird, is yet to be seen. The reason why they should absolutely do this is because whether they do it or not, those PDFs and those 3D printing things, those are going to be out there. They're going to be out there. And it might just be best in really good PR for Nintendo to say, here you go. If you still want pre-cut stuff, you can buy it from us. But here's the files if you want to make your own. And I think that that's really great. Something else that I'd like to see from Nintendo is for Nintendo to get some third-party developers to work on other ways to do this and not just have Nintendo doing it. Not because I don't think Nintendo is going to do a good job, but because it always helps to have other ideas out there. Think about it. Everybody who saw that tweet from Nintendo, they were asking themselves, what is it that Nintendo is going to be doing? There was a lot of speculation, and I guarantee there was nobody that said Nintendo is going to make a game out of cardboard. Nobody said that beforehand. And if they did, they had to have insider knowledge. There's no way anybody would have guessed this. And that's because different people think of different things. So I hope that Nintendo lets third parties get in on this action because it's a good idea. All right, let's go back to the press release for a second. Reggie Fils-Aimé was quoted. He said, Nintendo Labo, which, by the way, I hate the name, by the way. I really don't like Labo. If they just call it Nintendo Lab or Nintendo Creative Lab or Nintendo Switchcraft, I think that'd be a great name. Then that would be better than Lab-O. It just sounds weird to say. But Nintendo Labo continues our long-standing mission of making people smile by surprising them with new experiences. It is an exciting evolution of the Nintendo Switch platform, one designed to inspire curiosity, creativity, and imagination in people of all ages. So if you haven't watched the video yet, there's a link in the show notes. In addition to that, there's two other links in the show notes. One of them is a link to the pre-order for the robot kit on Amazon. And if you buy it there, I will get a kickback. So please do. And the other one is a link to the variety kit. In addition to those two kits, there's also, I think it's called the Customize kit. And basically it comes with stickers and stuff like that so that you can decorate your creations. I showed this to my wife and she just looked at me like, what is this thing that I just saw? And it's funny, I got to work today and my buddy I asked him if he'd seen it. And he said, yeah. And I said, how much do you think is a fair price for that? And he goes, I don't know, like $100. And I said, well, it's 80. And he goes, oh man, I'm sold. I'm going to get that for my kid. Now, let's talk about the negative reaction that has come back on Nintendo from this announcement. And that's that people have unreasonable expectations. They always seem to have unreasonable expectations. And they looked at the tweet and they said, well, clearly that must be Metroid Prime 4 or Super Smash Brothers, even though there was nothing hinting at that. And now they're mad that they didn't get what they wanted. The existence of Nintendo Labo does not make all of the awesome games that we already have on Nintendo Switch disappear. This is not for you, and it's not for me either. I looked at this and I said, I don't want this in my house. It's just going to clutter up everything. I'm sure the one will end up in my house because my son is 9, and this is like candy for a 9-year-old. It looks incredibly cool. If I was 9 years old and I could do this with cardboard, I mean, I just used wrapping paper tubes as a sword, and that was the limit that I had. He can do this crazy thing with folding cardboard and then suddenly make it come to life. That's bananas. That's just crazy. Anyway, in addition, Nintendo Labo Studio has a 3-hour hands-on event. This is in New York City on February 2nd to 3rd and San Francisco on March 2nd to 4th. So make sure that you go to Nintendo's site, and if you have a kid, I believe it was between 6 and 12, you can sign up for a chance to win the chance to go to the studio and get like a 3-hour hands-on with the stuff. which is really cool. The last thing that I want to say about the Nintendo Labo is that Nintendo, they had this in the can for a while. Nintendo had this planned out a long time ago, and it's brilliant, but I'm really happy that they waited a full year after the announcement of the Switch to show it off, because I don't know if you guys remember, but I remember watching the January event, and when they had the schoolgirl fighting the businessman, and it turned out to be for ARMS, that was like the low point of the event to me. When I saw that, I was like, oh no, it's another Wii. I don't want another Wii. I want a real game system. And it turned out that ARMS was awesome, and I was wrong. ARMS is a really great game. But when I first saw it, I was like, it's more of that motion control stuff that I hate. If they had shown this last year at the January event, I think that the Switch would have been a failure. I think that the Switch would have just done a face plant. So I'm really happy that they waited, and their marketing this year has been great. Their marketing has been, we're going after the core gamer. We're showing them we're showing them all of these ways that you can play the Switch. And now we're showing you one more way, and it might not be a way that you want to play, and I don't want to play this way, but it's a way that somebody might want to play. And I think that it's a really good move on Nintendo's part. I want to know what you guys think. Please email me, runjumpstomp@gmail.com. Let me know, what do you think of Nintendo Labo? Thank you. Was that second one better? I feel like the second one was better. One of the carts looks to have a small programming language section where you can make your own Toy-Con things. What? Oh, cart. Wait, looks at shelf behind him. This is not clutter. This is decoration. Those are board games. We use those. All right, well, I'm deleting the old ones. Labo 1 is gone. Labo 2 is gone. Save. I think I said everything I needed to say about it. All right, what time is it? 4:09. Okay. All right, we've got two stories in the lightning round that I want to talk about. The first is this. I mean, this is really unexpected. I found this story over on Nintendo Life, and that is that the 3DS has hit the highest sales since 2014, which is just crazy. This is according to NPD Group. They show that collectively, all the different versions of 3DS, and there's a lot of them, sold more than 750,000 units during the most festive of months. Oh my God, that can't be right. In December, in 1 month, the 3DS sold 750,000 units. Wow, that's bananas. That's a 27% increase over the same period a year ago. Man, I mean, that's 21 million units completely sold for 3DS over. I don't want to say I was wrong, because I don't think I was wrong. I still think Nintendo should ditch the 3DS. I think they should let it die. But the idea that it sold that that many, is just crazy to me. I thought it was on its last legs. I mean, you have to remember, the 3DS has an insane library. There are so many fantastic games on the 3DS, and maybe I'm just being a snob when I say that I don't want to play on my 3DS anymore. With a brand new console out, and it's a portable console at that, for the 3DS to sell that much is just crazy. I can't go back to that screen. That screen is just not as good. The 720p screen of the Switch is so much better, and the 240p screen on the 3DS just feels like garbage in comparison. Even though there's some fantastic games on it, I felt like I was completely done with it. Although at the same time, if I were completely done with it, I probably would have traded it in by now. It's still sitting right over there on the other side of my monitors, waiting for me to pick it up. Maybe I'll play something tonight. I probably won't. I don't have time. But to have its highest year in the same year when the Switch came out, that's pretty bananas. And Nintendo's got to be really, really happy about that. Okay. Double Dragon, for the Nintendo Switch, is now out. It came out this morning. It is a port of the original arcade version. This is not Double Dragon 4, which apparently had really terrible reviews, but the original Double Dragon. Now, I know that there's some people who will say that the reason Double Dragon 4 was so bad is because the original Double Dragon really doesn't hold up. I respectfully disagree with them. Now, if you're watching the live show and you're watching the video, you can see behind me there's an arcade cabinet. So I am the kind of person who would like this sort of thing. I am biased toward retro games. If you've watched my NES archive videos over at youtube.com/runjumpstomp, you would know that I like retro stuff. So I was excited to see Double Dragon coming to the Switch, the original. And I think that it's a great idea. I think that more arcade games. But what does this mean? Well, I'm not sure what it means. But what I worry that it means is that we're never going to get Virtual Console because we keep getting all of these games that I think would otherwise show up on Virtual Console. Now, yes, it's an arcade game. It's not a console game, so that's true. But with the rumors that Nintendo was pushing the release of their online service to 2019, and by all accounts, that's still just a rumor. I went to Nintendo's site, and it still said 2018. There was just one place where it said 2019. I'm pretty sure that that was a typo. I still worry that we're not going to get Virtual Console. There is a bonus to not having Virtual Console for indie developers, though, and that's that I'm not buying Legend of Zelda Link to the Past for the 48th time. I'm buying their games instead, like Blossom Tales, which is a great game that I probably wouldn't have tried if it weren't for Link to the Past not being on the console. It's very much like Link to the Past, but it's also different in its own way. So I'm curious how you guys feel. Are you excited about these arcade ports coming to the Switch, or are you just chomping at the bit for the Virtual Console? Let me know. Yes, that is Star Fox 2 running on the cabinet today, Fisto. Good eye. File save. We'll call that lightning round. Football? What's a football? All right. Let me get a drink and then we'll wrap this up. They re-edited the original tweet? Oh, okay. Thanks, Pudding. No, I was quoting Christmas Story. When he's sitting on Santa's lap and he goes, what do you want? And he can't remember. And Santa goes, I know. How about a football? And the character goes, football? What's a football? And then he shakes his head, yes. Yeah, you'll shoot your eye out, kid. Well, everybody, that is all the time that we have for today. If there's a story that I missed or a topic that you would like discussed, please let me know in one of the ways that I mentioned at the beginning of the show. If you are looking for a way to support the show, the number one best way to support the show is to share it with a friend. Make sure that you let them know this is all about Nintendo. It's 3 days a week. usually short episodes, less than 30 minutes is what I go for. Other ways to support the show can be found at runjumpstomp.com/support. There's lots of ways there. So make sure some of them are free and some of them are not. So make sure that you head on over there and check it out. Thank you to Tom Winter and Noteblock for the use of your music on the show today. I really appreciate it. Make sure you head on over to their YouTube channels and give them a subscription. And speaking of YouTube, I also have a YouTube channel over at youtube.com/runjumpstomp. If you like retro stuff, I'm working on a series. You'll also find reviews and stuff there, but I'm working on a series where I'm going through, it's called the NES Archive. I'm going through every game released on the Nintendo Entertainment System in the US or in North America. And so far we've got 3 or 4 videos. I've got probably 5 or 6 of them shot, and I'm still editing some of them. But the next one that comes out, I believe, is Kung Fu, which was one of my all-time favorite games. All right, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys on Saturday. I forgot what day it was for a second. Bye-bye. Hey, H-Bomb, thanks for the host, man. All right, let's hit save. Thanks for listening to me go through that stuff twice, guys. You were playing retro. What were you playing, H-Bomb? What retro game? I await. Music is on. All right, let me find somebody to host. Oh, you got a SNES Classic. Congratulations, H-Bomb. Hey, if you like retro stuff, make sure you click on that right there. All right, let me find somebody to host. You came in right at the end with that host. I really appreciate it, though, H-Bomb. Let's find somebody. Who is streaming? Following. Oh, thanks, TF Wagner. I appreciate the fact that you guys sat through me doing the same story twice in a row because I wasn't happy with how it went the first time. I really appreciate that. I wonder if Virtual Console release would mean less NES/SNES Classic sales. Maybe Nintendo worries about that. I don't think so, Snow. The NES Classic and the SNES Classic, those systems are collector's items. Even if they're just hunks of plastic, they're collector's items because they were hard to get. And I love playing on mine. What I would actually prefer that they do instead of Virtual Console is take the NES Classic, put all the games on a cart, sell that in a store. So I just plug it into my Switch and I can take it with me. And then they can have NES Classic 2 and NES Classic 3 where they're adding other games on afterwards. You know? And then do the same thing with Super Nintendo Classic. Mr. Dippy, you don't really understand how Twitch works. What do you mean? What's your question? Somebody has to host your channel. Nobody has to host my channel, and I don't have to host anybody. But usually what happens is when people finish streaming, they will say host another stream. And what that means, so let's say that you were streaming, Mr. Dippy, and you were playing, we'll say, Zelda. You're playing Breath of the Wild, and you finish up your stream, then you host Run Jump Stomp, and then everybody who's watching you is now watching me instead because you're done. And then when I'm done, I pass it along. And generally what people do is you want to host somebody who, you know, is somebody who's a community that you're part of usually, or somebody who's playing the same kind of stuff that you play. So that kind of thing. Yeah. And that's why I tend to try to host people who I know, because I don't know what the other person is going to do, because they could be naughty. Hopefully I answered your question good enough. Exactly. And that's probably how it started. Everybody was just saying, hey, go watch this guy because I'm all done. And then Twitch built in the host command. Fisto, will you be looking at Miracle Piano teaching system on your archive videos? I remember watching the Mexican runner speedrunning that game. He said it was the utmost hard to complete. Well, just to be clear, Fisto, I am not completing these games. I am just checking them out, doing research on what is the game like, who made it, you know, finding, I record some footage of it, but it's going to be every NES game that was released in North America. It's going to take me a while to get through it. Oh, no problem, Mr. Dippy. I always like answering questions. That's why I became a teacher, is because I like to answer questions. Originally, before hosting, you would say something raid with that emote, right? Yeah, I don't think people do that anymore. Well, I'm sure that some people still do. All right, who's gonna get hosted?